Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris and welcome to a brand new episode of LEGO Awards, the show where we take a look at the best of every year of LEGO. Currently, we've been taking a look at the best minifigures across every LEGO year, from 2021 when we kicked this series off all the way down from 2020, 19, 18, 17, 16, now we're all the way down to 2014, and we'll be taking a look at the top 10 best collectible minifigs of 2014. The reason why I'm distinguishing between collectible minifigs and regular minifigs is that typically, collectible minifigs tend to be the best of the best in terms of minifig design for pretty much any year, so it's not really fair to compare them against the regular retail release LEGO minifigs. And so, of course, before we jump in, I do also want to say that everything expressed in this video is just my personal opinion. The best is kind of hard to quantify objectively, so I'm just sharing my thoughts right now, and I do want to hear yours, so let me know in the comments below if you agree, if you disagree, and what are your personal picks for the best collectible minifigs of 2014. Without further ado, let's just jump right into number 10.
Alright, so coming in at number 10, we have an entry from the LEGO Movie collectible minifig series. This is the Taco Guy. So the Taco Guy is kind of a retread of an older mariachi guy from the LEGO Collectible Minifig Series 2 figures way back in the day, but it definitely was a nice update to the character itself. He uses pretty much the same exact sombrero piece, the same fabric pieces, but specially includes a bowl piece which is printed on the inside rim and on the bottom of the plate, which is really fun to see. And honestly, the reason why this character is on the list is that even though he is pretty much a retread of an older figure, that older figure was just simply very well done, and this is no exception. Really, my only major complaint about this is that the torso underneath is just plain green, and especially given the way that the wrap of the fabric goes around the figure itself, you can very obviously see the torso is supposed to be just plain, which I think is a big detriment to the character itself. Other than that though, this is a really fun character to get for the LEGO Movie, and definitely one of the more interesting standout characters from the LEGO Movie series. Moving on to number 9, we have another entry from the LEGO Movie series, and this is William Shakespeare. So Shakespeare here is one of the more interesting inclusions from the collectible minifig series, especially given that it is one of the only original collectible minifig series figures to actually feature a real person. He has printing on the sides of the legs to continue the dark red kind of outfit that he has onwards to the side of the legs, as well as the gold stripe for the knees there. And I also love the collar element that they introduced for the character itself, which is still seen to this day. Of course, the figure is fairly plain, but it definitely makes up for it by being a very, very recognizable character in history. I love the bald cap element being introduced for the character itself. It really does capture the essence of Shakespeare here, and I do actually appreciate the printing on the front of the torso as well. It's again a shame that the back does not have any printing whatsoever. Not sure what was going on with that. Moving onward, we have an entry from the first series of Simpsons collectible minifigures. This is Maggie Simpson. Now, Maggie introduces two very interesting new molds for LEGO, the baby mold, which was really only used for her because it's very specific to the Maggie character, as well as her head mold, which is really interesting to see. While the baby mold itself does not actually feature any printing whatsoever, which is why this is a little lower on the list, it really didn't need to because again, this is an animated character. I really love just how accurate the molding is for the character itself. It absolutely sells the fact that this is a character from the TV show, and the head sculpt, while maybe a little bit uncanny like some of the other Simpsons head sculpts, very much works in favor for this figure. With that though, we can now move on to one of the original LEGO collectible minifig series. This is the Hun Warrior. So the Hun Warrior here features a very specially detailed cape element, as well as a new mold for the helmet with horn pieces added in from the cow pieces. I just really like the amount of detail featured on this figure itself. Unfortunately, it came out before LEGO actually figured out dual molding, so while the legs probably should have been dual molded, they are not, and they are just featuring printing on the sides of the legs, but it really is not a problem that LEGO could have anticipated. I like the printing on the front of the face there, and the helmet is surprisingly really historically accurate, which is really great, as well as the shield piece just really fitting in very well. You could even use it for maybe some Mulan scenes or stuff like that. All in all, this is just a fun historical figure to get from the collectible minifig series that is very, very massable in bulk. Moving onwards to number 6, we return to the LEGO Movie series. This is Calamity Drone. So I really like this character because it takes the classic Western look and feel of a character itself and gives it a Lego Movie robotic style of spin. While the figure reuses the red Harrington hairpiece from the Lone Ranger series, I also really like the inclusion of the hat element up there, very much gives it the Western feel, but also the robotic printing on the sides of the face as well as the torso itself. Unfortunately, because the skin tone is silver, you can't really reuse this dress outside of this one specific application, which I think is a bit of a shame. I really do feel like the rest of the dress really could have been used very well in other Western applications. It's just the silver printing that gives it away that this is a robot. Still, that being said, it's a really fun character design. I like the addition of the molded hat, which is really great on the figure itself, and it's just one of the more fun figures we got out of the Lego Movie Series 1. From there, we can now take a look at number 5, and this is Homer Simpson from the Simpsons Series 1. So to me, this is just the perfect rendition of one of the most classic characters from all of pop culture. He may not be the most interestingly printed, heck, you can even see the legs do not have any printing, and the back of the torso also doesn't have any printing, but this is just one of the most iconic characters in all of media that is captured pretty much perfectly in Lego form. The dual molded arms, featuring for the first time in this figure and figure series, look really great for the character itself, and I just love the way that the expression works for the character. It just looks really good in general. And it's kind of a shame that they restricted the open eye classic expression to the Collectible Minifig series because he had to have closed eyelids in the actual Simpsons house set, which was a bit of a shame. That being said, though, I love the inclusion of the 1x2 print on the tile piece for the TV remote, and again, this is pretty much just the perfect representation of this very classic character. But moving onwards, we can now take a look at number 4, and coming in at number 4 we have the Bart Simpson figure, again from the Simpsons series. The only reason why this is just one step higher from the Homer figure is that he actually introduces the dual molding on the bottom legs as well. The short legs were molded in different colors for the first time, which looks really great, and I like the inclusion of the slingshot being printed on the back of the legs and torso there, which really does make it feel like he kind of has it tucked away behind his pants. The figure also introduces the skateboard element with a new printing on it for the red stripe on the lime skateboard, just a very classic piece to get for this very iconic character. And again, while the printing is not the most interesting, his torso is literally plain, it makes up for it by being a great rendition of a very iconic character in pop culture. But with that, we can now move on to minifigures that have slightly more interesting prints on them. And coming in at number 3, we have the Space Miner from the Collectible Minifigures series. Now this is a really fun concept for a figure featuring one of the most intricately detailed helmets we have ever gotten out of Lego. I love this very specialized mold having a light on the top. You've also got the keyed orange printing mixed with the orange as well as the dark gray. Just a really cool helmet piece to have in general, and using the classic Space Blaster in orange with a drill on it is a really great inclusion for the character itself. Now, removing the armor piece, the torso underneath is honestly not too interesting to me personally, and unfortunately he does not have any printing on the back of the torso. Despite being covered with the armor, you can still see some of it, so that is a bit of a shame, but I really do like the printing on the legs themselves. You can even see some printing on the hips with a name on it, which is really intricate to get, and that headpiece is just so useful for a variety of different applications as well. But from there, we can now move on to number 2. This is another figure from the same series, which is the Battle Goddess. So the Battle Goddess here is pretty much supposed to be kind of an Athena type character from Greek mythology. I love the inclusion of a very specially molded new hairpiece with the crown and the more Spartan style of hood piece being attached on the top there with the feather. The arms also feature gold metallic gauntlets, which looks really great, and even removing the specially cut fabric skirt element, you can even see that the printing underneath of the legs is in metallic gold, which is a really fun printing to get in general. All in all, this is pretty much the classic, great interpretation of a mythological character in Lego form, which is why it ranks so high on this list. But personally, in my opinion, this was outdone by one more character from the same series, and that is the Wizard from the Collectible Minifigure series. This wizard is such a fun character, and I liked it so much I got 2 different copies of the character itself, just because of how detailed the character is. He pretty much is just the classic fantasy style of character for a wizard. If you go to me and you say classic wizard, this is exactly what pops in my head. I love the way that the fabric elements for the cape actually have the printed metallic stars and moon printing on them. The hat itself was a special mold introduced for the character, which looks absolutely stellar and fantastic, and I really like the inclusion of the metallic gold moons mixed in with the silver stars. All in all, this is just probably one of my favorite characters to get out of all of the collectible minifig series. The torso underneath is just equally fantastic, and even the headpiece is really great to get. Just a standout minifigure to have in general.
Alright, and with that we have summed up my personal favorite, and in my opinion, best collectible minifigs from the year of 2014. Again, this is all just my opinion, so let me know in the comments below if you agree, if you disagree, and what are your personal favorite collectible minifigs from the year of 2014. Stay tuned for next time where we go back in time taking a look at 2013. I hope you enjoyed this video and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye bye for now.